Good Sunday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing. For this Sunday, October 16th, we've restarted this briefing due to increased fire activity, especially across the western Great Basin. But we have some good news. Pacific storm system is spilling over across the Sierra into the northern half and northern two-thirds of our region, so we should see cooler, more moist conditions where you see the green with scattered showers becoming more widespread, even some mountain snows. We do have concern still for strong winds combined with fairly low humidity and moderately dry fuels from our recent dry spell. And that's across basically the southern half to southern third of Nevada into parts of far south, west, Utah, and parts of the Arizona Strip as well. Looking at precipitation over the past 24 hours, some missing data to our north, but those regions are already into season-ending mode. But our concern here across the western Great Basin, notice the spillover of that precipitation where you see the greens to dark blues. That's anywhere from a quarter inch to a half inch or even more, and that's finally spilling over into the Reno area, the Carson City area. So definitely more moist fuel conditions in that lighter precipitation of at least a few hundredths of an inch, spreading out towards Fallon and maybe towards Tonopah, and this area will continue expanding eastwards as we go through the day. You can see our fire activity map, of course, our large fire here in the Carson City area. But again, they're seeing higher humidity and also moisture coming on in. Otherwise, some small fire activity in some of those areas we mentioned across southern Nevada, parts of southwest Utah, where conditions still are fairly dry. We take a look at a longer-term precipitation pattern over the past 7 days, and you can see that not including the past 24 hours and the dryness that is across Nevada, and this moisture is fairly recent here right along the California border. But you can see down towards the southern half of Nevada, parts of Utah, dry for the past 7 days, and a longer-term outlook for the past 30 days on the right. Notice in the southern portion of Nevada, near Mount Charleston to Vegas, dry for the past 30 days, pretty much going to parts of extreme southwest Utah. Our current ERC conditions, we are looking at basically moistening across the Sierra front. A lot of these areas were in the yellow. Now they're in the green with more moisture. Our driest fuels are down in southern Nevada and parts of southwest Utah and the Arizona Strip. We take a look at our latest radar imagery, and we see a powerful Pacific storm system moving into the Pacific Northwest through the northern half of California, and we are starting to see spillover of that precipitation over the past 12 to 24 hours into parts of western Nevada, which have been extremely dry. Also seeing that precipitation expand further eastwards towards Elko and towards the Great Salt Lake region. This area will be growing in coverage as we go through the day. So taking a look at our upper level map for this afternoon, on the left hand side, a deep trough of low pressure. The tight packing of those yellow height lines indicates strong winds, but that darker green to bluish shade indicates very high atmospheric moisture with precipitation expected in those areas where you see the green. Our dry areas where this black blends into the tannish shade is where the air mass humidity stays fairly dry. If you look on the right-hand side of our fire potential map, we are moderately dry in some areas across western Nevada, but are concerned for winds and low humidity confined to the southern third of the state and possibly edging into parts of far southwest Utah. Now, if we look at the weather variables, quite interesting. Very strong winds here. These are wind gusts in the brown of 55 to 60, maybe even 70 miles per hour. But basically drawing a line from south of Lake Tahoe on southwards is where the humidity would be the driest. So in the southern third of Nevada, where you see these purple shades, wind gusts of 45 to 50 miles an hour. Also going to southern Utah and the Arizona Strip. That'll coincide with the relative humidity values of anywhere from 15 to 30%, and even drier by shade as you go into far southern Utah. So that'll be our concerns as we go through this afternoon. Now for tomorrow, Monday, still a plume of moisture over the northern third of Nevada into northern Utah and much of Idaho and Wyoming. Breezy and still dry across the southern half of our region. However, there will be additional moistening from the precipitation starting to develop across parts of western and northern Nevada today. You can see our fairly moist colors all across the board. Looking at weather variables for tomorrow, The winds die down across those drier areas across Nevada. So even though the humidity is still in the 15 to 30% range, we should see a decrease in wind. Where we do see some strong winds up here into Idaho, it'll be with the storm system and precipitation and a much higher humidity. So no worries there. Looking at Tuesday, drier air pushing into the southern half of our region, still stormy and gray across the northern half. Our significant fire potential is diminishing as we go into Tuesday. And if we go into our weather variables, you can see those winds increasing where the humidity is highest, but in the south, just moderately breezy conditions. Humidity, though, starts drying out. We're seeing a lot of humidity levels down into the teens to near 10% across southern Nevada. Precipitation over the next 3 days. This takes us from Sunday morning through Wednesday morning. You can see this relief of moisture here pushing across Carson City and Reno into Elko. The dark green there is about a quarter to a half inch. Where you see the blue, we're talking about a half inch to an inch of rain with pockets of locally higher amounts. Monster precipitation amounts across the Northern California and Oregon coasts with those series of Pacific storms coming in. Also pretty wet, over 2 inches of precipitation, rain and mountain snow across parts of the McCall area. As we go later in the week, on the left-hand side, notice high pressure starting to build in across California and the western portion of the Great Basin. Drier air coming in. The spacing of these height lines means winds will be decreasing, but the ridging means that temperatures will be going up. And as we go to Thursday, you can see that ridge of high pressure builds. On the right-hand side, you can see where we start drying out across southern Nevada into that critically dry brown category. Even high risk for offshore winds down in southern California. It's that time of year. And then on Friday, big high pressure ridge in control across the four corners. Dry all throughout, a significant warming and drying trend, and we see those dryness levels getting up into the brown, but the winds in these areas will be quite light and variable, so don't expect anything in terms of wind, just drying things out and warming up. If we look at our extended 8 to 14 day outlook, takes us into the last week of October, the 23rd through the 29th, a cooler than normal signal across the west coast, warmer than normal down towards Texas. We'll be kind of in the middle, so near normal. Precipitation, we continue with the stormy above normal precipitation across the Pacific Northwest, the whole west coast, and pushing into the western Great Basin where they could use it, so we should be seeing some more moisture and no serious concerns for any surprise fire activity as we close out the month of October. This concludes our briefing. We'll monitor the situation daily. We may start going back to our smoke dispersion briefing early this week. We'll see how conditions transpire. Have a great day.